So earlier today, I was talking with a couple of my friends, and just like any good Vancouver resident, of course, I was talking about the price of housing. I currently live in a one bedroom apartment, and I really want to move to something with a two bedroom. And so my girlfriend and I, we've been thinking, okay, like could we is like buying a place maybe on the table. So, we whipped up Zillow, and then we immediately start getting blasted with 1.2 million, 1.5 million. And that was the norm. That was more of the norm than the exception. And, our minds were blown. Obviously, we've known things like this before, but we thought there might have been other options. And there weren't. So I was just venting about that with my friends. But also on Zillow, we scrolled over to the states, and it kind of doesn't matter what city you look at. A lot of them just have way better deals than in Canada. In a lot of cities, you can find apartments that or homes even that look pretty decent at around $500,000, and it doesn't have to be far into the suburbs where you don't really have anything around you. For a lot of them, it might even be in big major metropolitan areas, which is the kind of place that I want to live in. So, I brought these observations up to my friends, and they started asking some interesting questions, right? One of them was, okay, what keeps us in Vancouver in the first place? And on top of that, what keeps us in Canada in the first place? And if it wasn't just friends and family, is there anything keeping us here? Right? Like in Canada, especially given our incomes, the just Canadian incomes are lower than American incomes by uh, sometimes huge amounts, right? Like maybe somewhere between 20 to 50% on average. I'm just ballparking here. There are The home prices here are just so high that as a Canadian, you are forced to almost think about nothing but housing, right? Like everything you do is geared towards how can I get this asset that seems to make so much money. You might make more money sitting on your home doing nothing than you might working, and that's such a big demotivating factor, right? So my my friends, they start asking like, well, what if we didn't like what if we didn't live here? What if we lived in the States? Now in the States you would have homes that are actually affordable, and I know that everywhere in the world home prices are increasing, but Canada is truly number one in this kind of like housing in this kind of housing inflation. So you're saying, okay, what if I lived in the States, I made money in the States, and I got a house, paid less in taxes. Like that, it's kind of sounds not bad. And if it wasn't for, yeah, friends and family, you might not actually have anything that ties you to this country. Another thing that was brought up is that because it makes because you can make more money sitting on a home and doing nothing than you do working, it de-incentivizes you from building a business, right? Like imagine two scenarios where in one you could have a home that you either bought, it kind of doesn't matter how you got it, right? But it could be like you earned it with your hard-earned money, you pulled yourself up by the bootstraps, or your parents helped you with your down payment, or your parents pass away and you get the house by default, right? In any of those scenarios, you could be, earning $100,000, not necessarily in liquidity, but still in equity value that you can further leverage for more capital gains somehow. And like based on current rates, it could be like $100,000 a year, which is a pretty decent income. But let's compare that to building a business, which can take years and years. It might not work, but if you do, like if you get a business to a point where you can pay yourself $100,000 a year comfortably, and your business is not going under because you're taking so much cash out, that's a really good place to be. But the effort required to get there is astronomically higher than your parents passing away, or your parents helping you get a home, or it's really not the same thing. And if the higher home prices are and the easier it is to make money sitting on a home doing nothing, the less likely you are to build a business. And it really concerns me when I think about the future of Canada, that we've built a system of perverse incentives. Right? You are incentivized to not build businesses because there are far better ways to make money. And it really makes me wonder, like, is that the type of country we want to build? Do we want a country of landlords who make money sitting on assets instead of building stuff? Right? I'm really concerned about this direction that we're headed in, and I don't want the government to double down on real estate. Just because it takes up such a big portion of our economy and GDP does not mean that we should double down on that. Real estate has its productive purposes, but it should not be the main driver. It doesn't produce. People produce. Businesses produce. Systems produce. We need to encourage those, not the sitting on assets. Sitting on assets should not be the best way to make money. Anyways, those are my thoughts, and I'm sharing this because I feel that I'm not the only one thinking this. I'm really concerned about people in my generation. I'm 27 years old, born in '93. I'm concerned about everyone in my generation and younger. And I want a place like Canada to really be a place of opportunity where you're encouraged to go out there and build something, not sit and make money on homes. Anyways, that's it. Peace.